This week on Bros, Bibles, and Beer.
Get better at podcasting, okay?
I'll be a producer next time. Dave can be in my seat. Anybody that's really good at debating, when they make a statement like that, he just made the statement, hallucinogenic drugs, which are clearly a portal, what do you say, demonic?
This is demonic
possession.
Yeah, he like lists off a bunch of stuff and doesn't give you a chance to respond. It just says like, these are things that we all accept. There's like 7 thought experiments in what you just said.
That's what I do, man. That's what I do.
You just did what Tucker did. You did the same thing. You just didn't use the exact words of like, we already know that this is it feels like something's up with these masks. I'm going to get rid of them. And so he did. He got rid of them. He trashed them immediately. No nightmares. Like a light switch. Welcome to Bros, Bibles, and Beer. This is a podcast where we have serious conversations about unserious things, and it's funny sometimes, and the other times it's not.
Welcome, young and old, rich and poor. Hopefully not too poor, because once we start a Patreon,
We're going to need your help. Yes, I am your host, Andy McCraw, with my other host, Zach Uri Crater, and producer Dave Ritchie.
my middle name is Ari.
Zach Uri. Actually, last name is Uri Crater. And Dave Ritchie on the ones and twos tonight.
Hello.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the producer seat, Dave.
This has been
Thanks for having me.
Fun swing back and forth in the tree with our monkey producers between Colin and David. This is fun. Are you having fun, David?
What? Who's this Colin? I've not heard of him.
Yeah.
Well,
okay, so
some people just shouldn't know about wizards.
this is the second week in a row where we've encountered technical interestingness. It feels spiritual at this point.
Oh.
And it definitely takes me out of my game because all my 100% of my brain CPU has to be focused on solving this problem, whatever it is. But it got solved.
It feels confession time. When you say it feels spiritual,
Do I really mean that? No.
I get a little triggered. I confess. And
Oh.
I'm not saying that's right. I just have currently the lens through which I view the world is maybe under spiritualizing things, at least in the way most people would think of spiritualization.
Yeah.
Like, when you say it feels spiritual, I know you're kind of making a joke, but
A little bit.
if we get to some content tonight, maybe not. Some people, it's not a joke. It's no joke. And you shouldn't make fun of it at all. And I'm not making fun of it, I swear to God.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was lowercase God.
Okay, good.
So that's okay. It's the God of my own construction.
Duh God. I don't know.
I swear, duh God. I, Zach
D.O.E.
Crater, swear, duh God.
D-O-U-G. Doug God.
I mean, we're coming up on All Hallows Eve, or some like to call it
Halloween? Yeah. Everyone calls it Halloween. No one calls it All Hallows Eve.
the Fall Festivus,
Oh, yeah.
depending on you're celebrating fall harvest.
Yeah. Let us know in the comment section. What does your church call it? Is it a Harvest Festival? That's a popular one. Fall Fest. Turner Burn Fest.
Do you guys? That sounds like a fun festival. That could be like
You have a band name.
an awesome music festival.
I remember going to a church when I was a kid, and they had I don't even know how you describe it. Like, you'd walk through the different stages of the Bible, and there was one stage that was hell, and they had a heater and fans blowing on the heater into you so you could feel the flames.
It was like 4D.
Yeah, it was 4D. Yeah, and they're burning sulfur in the corner. It was cool. Did you guys ever do one of those?
Actually, even in my fundamentalish upbringing, no, I don't remember that. Maybe I purged it, but man, what a great God we serve.
You guys did.
You just don't get it right, man.
You guys took
Burn in hell forever.
took the fun out of fundamental.
I guess so. Do you guys have any baggage? Like,
Halloween baggage?
or not even Halloween, but just spiritual, like angels, demons. What were you given when you were? What were you handed when you grew up? And kind of, is that different from where you're at now?
No, but as we dove into this topic, it's loosely answering it. There was someone that I had to serve with on a board years ago who saw the world. His lens of the entire world was spiritual warfare. and everything could be interpreted through spiritual warfare. And like it was just exhausting after a while. At best, it was exhausting. At worst, it was like manipulative.
I think he was here today.
Yeah, he was dicking around with the equipment. Is that you? He's got his grubby fingerprints all over it.
I remember, so John Eldridge made the rounds heavily, at least in spirit, in our church. And we've all been fans in the past in various states, of that ministry. Some of us maybe less so now. And some of us maybe not. I don't know. That's beside the point. But in one of his videos, he was talking, it's an old video, and he's talking about when the Clinton administration transferred to the Bush administration, one of the like pastors that was kind of, I think, on the Bush transition team. Don't worry, Christians, not that kind of transition. You're safe. He said he literally saw like demons exiting the White House as in an inauguration day when Bush was taking over.
He said he like physically, literally, actually saw them.
Yeah, and I get the impression it was kind of like a vision in his mind. I don't know how like physically he saw him. I don't think anyone recorded it, but according to this pastor, literally demons were fleeing in terror because God's guy had gotten in. And this was kind of probably in the mid throes of what I would now call, I was going through deconstruction. I wouldn't have looked at it at the time, just wrestling with a lot of things. I wouldn't have called it deconstruction at the time. It's before it was all hip and all that. But even so, and then having the benefit of hindsight of like the foreign policy, which is near and dear to my heart, what America has done in the world for good and ill. Just knowing, the Iraq War. Nobody loves the Iraq War now, but at the time,
speak for yourself.
People, you love the current Iraq War.
I'm into it.
I have the action figures.
You got the limited edition Uday and is it Kusay? His sons.
Couscous.
Hey, look.
Couscous Hussein.
Mom got me a limited times Saddam in a tunnel. Look, you can put him in and take him out. It's awesome.
Oh my gosh, it reminds me of the Arrested Development theme where they built models of their homes in Iraq because he had to deal with the American government. And there's all these body doubles of Saddam Hussein.
They found him in a tunnel.
Anyway, and so I'm just thinking, okay, at the time, we don't like Clinton because he's the Democrat and he's for abortion. And we love Bush because he's the evangelical Christian. But then, looking back at that war and like the hundreds of thousands of civilians that were killed in what turned out to be a war that we entered in false pretenses, I'm like, none of that comes into play with the good versus evil stuff. We're okay with that because it's a republic. I don't know. Never mind all that. That's just, it came to mind, and I'm sorry I brought it up.
Well, it must have been what he wanted.
Yeah, maybe the lens he's looking through, he's seeing angels or seeing demons flee the White House. But I don't currently look through that lens of angels and demons. But I don't know. Dave, what about you? What were you given versus where you're at now? And it's okay if they're the same.
I don't know if I was given. I mean, pretty rigid upbringing. Like for me, I guess where I've kind of rebelled a little bit about against my upbringing is like, praying at every single meal.
When you're talking, you can just switch to the main camera. Just
Sorry.
So I'm not seeing myself constantly. What if I want to pick my nose?
Sorry. Just some of those, like you have to do this, you have to do that. It's not right if you don't, bless everything prior to whatever it may be. So I think a lot of that is kind of like, my comment earlier, there was
Mom, Dave took a bite before you prayed. There's
definitely that. Spiritual warfare thing.
David, go to bed without dinner.
That's happened a couple times.
That's what's going to happen to you.
We have a
spiritual bread of life, Dave. You don't get actual bread tonight.
I had the kind of spiritual warfare in the house, or everything was spiritual. So even like that family just got run over by a semi truck. It must have been God's will, that's the type of stuff that
that's a different flavor. Yeah.
And you guys aren't Calvinists, but that's like borderline God ordains everything kind of a talk.
basically. I mean, the church we went to was, non-denominational. So
I am noticing that there's, and I'm guilty of this too, and maybe guilty is the wrong word, but there is a lot of talk amongst Christians that wouldn't say that it wasn't God's plan for you to be sexually assaulted. And I said you as if I'm talking to Dave, but I don't know. Is that prophetic, Dave? Were you? No, but
maybe.
But like the worst things in life, most Christians that aren't hardcore Reformed version will say things like, well, we trust God has a plan in this, but they don't think God is like the divine chess puppet master, like moving all the chess pieces on the board of life. So it is this like tension, sometimes maybe even a contradiction. And again, I've been there, and I still vacillate in and out of that stuff, even though generally I don't. I do think I'm comfortable with the phrase "everything is spiritual," just in a different way. I look at like there is a reality to life that a lot of which I'm not aware of, and so I'm trying to be open to it. But I think I've just been torched too many times to use a phrase by people that use that language. Where I'm like, oh, you're using angels and demons and the devil getting his way to describe things you just don't like and don't prefer. So, which is kind of where I'm at now. Like if there is I don't see the devil as being a person somewhere running around trying to fuck shit up. Even though I think evil is a thing and evil exists, so maybe it's a little bit more. It's hard to quantify in my mind.
Yeah, well, that's the C.S. Lewis's Screw Tape Letters, which does a good job of embodying some of what it seems maybe amorphous when John refers to principalities or Romans.
Yeah, your battle's not against flesh and blood.
Right. Yeah. And I would say that at this point, I was just actually having lunch with my buddy who's Muslim today. We hadn't seen each other in a while, and it was good to see him. And we chat. He's like, "How are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh man, it's been a while since
we've
we've
trying
chatted."
to get him on the pod?
Yeah,
Be fun to talk to him.
I bet he will. I bet he will join. I'll tell you one thing that we agreed on today to do. But we were just talking about the latest kind of state of culture and society, and it stumbled into the Charlie Kirk stuff as well too. And I just kept telling him, I was like, man, a lot of that stuff, I don't have a better way to describe it other than it just feels dark. It's just dark.
Yeah. And
that darkness shows up in people's behavior and attitudes and actions. And obviously like the algorithm can send you into doom scrolling land that just feeds that more and more, but it's just showing examples. It's showing real examples of the stuff that's out there. And
is it a spiritual thing?
Well, at some level, why not? To what degree, I don't know. But I would say that there is it feels like there's a spiritual component to it in the way that you have like large masses of people that seem to be acting in strange, out of the ordinary ways that are definitely not making the world a better place. So
amongst people,
are they influenced by spiritual things? I would not be shocked at all.
Yeah, amongst people, well, like the Luigi, the guy that
Mangione.
Yeah. When Mario's brother killed that CEO, like however you feel about the CEO or healthcare in this country or Charlie Kirk and what he was doing, some of the reactions on the fringes towards the left, and I hate that phrase, but I got to use it. Like in general, people know what I mean.
Yeah.
The far fringes of that side politically that seem to be rejoicing in that type of behavior, and like it's almost a joke. Well, he's hot and he hated healthcare, and healthcare is a mess, and this guy is super rich off of our healthcare. So it's not that big of a deal. It's like life is cheapened, like the value of one life. If we don't like their politics or the culture they're a part of, there's a part of humanity that is okay with that being snuffed out in a way that is dark. And it's not something I want to see grow. But thankfully, I think it's a vast minority of people. And oftentimes it's done.
Vast minority.
The vast swaths of minority. Yeah.
It might be, but there's been.
But it doesn't always feel that way.
Well, there's been enough
because of the algos.
Surveys recently. It's not just algos. There's surveys out there that basically are showing. They surveyed left and right, and 77% of Republican right said violence is never justified for in any sort of like political situations.
What's the math on the other end of that? I was told there's no math.
Yeah, so
that's a higher number than I like.
It is 23% would say that there was some
justification,
right,
for political violence.
Yeah. However, on the left, it was in the mid 60s that said it was justified.
No, I thought it was still a minority that said it was justified. I could be wrong.
You are wrong. So there's multiple that was basically plotting on the left side of the aisle. Mid 60% of people interviewed saying violence is justified.
Yeah.
For political purposes. And so I just mentioned that because I think there is a commentary right now that it's, well, both sides are doing it. Like both sides are affected. Both sides are fomenting this kind of violence. And I don't know if that's true.
It might not be true. There's part of me too that I do the both sides thing often. I think sometimes, I'm not saying in this case, I wouldn't say it's useful in this case, but sometimes it's useful to just point out like, hey, hold your side accountable. Like the world will progress the more people who love Trump will call out when they think he's doing wrong. Because a lot of people are like, I don't like that, but I can't really say anything because then I'm going against my side. Rinse and repeat on the other side. And then there's part of me also that's with the both sides. It's like, okay, how profitable is it to be like, okay, our side likes killing people less than your side, but ultimately, we're better because we still like killing people to a certain degree, potentially. Like that's a fool's errand, but I'm not disagreeing with this. The momentum right now does seem to be going a little more one way. And I wonder also if it would flip a little bit when things swing back and, President AOC is in there in a few years or whoever, or Gavin Newsom.
With Vice President Camacho.
Shit.
It's got what plants crave, people.
Yeah.
Drink the electrolytes. I wonder if it would flip where you'd start to see the justifiable political violence would creep up. And obviously this is speculation, but I think things do flip that way. But either way, can we hold our side's feet to the fire sometimes, as opposed to we're in this left-right game where we can't cede any ground because we're in a culture war. And if we cede any ground, we're giving aid to the enemy. And then there's no room for actual nuance because oftentimes the issues are more nuanced. And like this immigration thing, what's very clear to me is nobody wants to solve the issue that is behind all the immigration issues and has been going on for decades. Nobody wants to solve it because then we can't hold it over the other side's head. Like, see, they're not doing anything. And that's what disheartens me is like,
wait, what do you mean by that?
Politicians don't want to actually fix issues in general.
What do you qualify as
they want to be
fixed?
They want to be seen.
Well, for this one in particular, what do you qualify as fixed?
Or at least taking steps like actual legislative change to have an actual way for people who are in shitty situations in other countries, even if they don't have a ton of money, to make it here, to find some safety. That is broken. And that's what left Christians at least identify and point out better than right Christians politically in general. I'm not saying that the prescriptions are better. That part of it is a total shit show and a mess. But right Christians are very much more prone to be like, well, they broke the law. So there's a law and there's not law. And if they don't follow the law, get out.
But
and there's no room in there for the people that are on the margins that literally would do anything. We would do what they do to protect our family from a certain situation in our country. If it meant like breaking a country's law to get to a country just to be safer, those people are getting left out in all this madness. And I don't think anyone really wants to fix that. I think we just want to hold the issue over the other side's head. Generally, with exceptions. Caveats over. Okay.
Yeah, but well, I think you
come at me.
You conflated a lot of different things in there.
Me?
Yeah, you kind of mashed some stuff. So, maybe let me try to pick apart the multiple things that were going on. Number one, you have the concept of asylum. You're implying that the asylum system doesn't work. I think the problem that we've encountered in the last 5 years has been that it got abused, and every single person came in and said, regardless of my position,
all these details aren't my point. I'm not going to disagree with you on that.
Well, yeah. Let me talk and say a bunch of shit for 5 minutes, and the moment you refute it, I'll be like, yeah, no, I don't mean to do that.
I wasn't making a case about the details of these things, but just in general.
Well, you did make the case that it's all broken, and I'm like, well, let's talk about that. Is it all broken, and what exactly is broken? So there are laws that exist in place. There are laws that got ignored, and there are systems and processes that got abused, and intentionally or unintentionally. And so people who abuse those things ruined it, so to speak, for those who really needed it. Could that be better? Yes. Could there be a better path to citizenship? Could that be a process that could be improved? Totally.
That's more my point.
But
nobody seems to want to do that.
Yeah.
Find the better process.
AOC crying over kids in cages only works when the other side's in power, and as soon as Biden gets in, the kids in cages didn't go away. The deportations and breaking families apart didn't go away. The media just didn't cover them the same. And
Obama,
she dropped it.
I know.
And Biden, more recently, Biden
has deported more than Trump has. Like they are pawns. They're political pawns that get used to tug at the heartstrings. I'm not trying to sound cold here. I'm not trying to sound like I don't think that we should be willing to help people, but you do hit a point where systems get abused, and people will get abused and taken advantage of because of that, and abused in lots of different directions. Americans and their generosity gets abused, and immigrants and their own situations are getting abused and used for political purposes as well. So it's not a good situation in lots of different directions. But
that's kind of my point, is what you just said.
But some things did change.
Oh yeah. I mean, as a result of the
new administration,
the heavy arm of the law coming down, illegal entries have dropped off a cliff.
Yeah, it stopped.
Which, is a consequence of some of Trump's actions. But just an example of, like, if you're on the Trump side, something to like push back on is when people are here legally, even if they're not citizens, and they went through the process legally, but they have the wrong opinion, say, on Israel, and they're a college student. Some of those people have been booted.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a pattern of like somebody at the highest office.
I'm not a fan of that.
Democrat or Republican. That's kind of my point, is like, or take the race issue to bring up another easy one. Is there's a perverse incentive to whatever degree racism exists and discrimination.
According to Jesse Lee Peterson, it doesn't exist.
Right. But regardless, the people that care deeply about racial justice, let's say, most individuals, I think, are acting in good faith and would like to see things get better. However, at a system-wide level, there is a perverse incentive not to fix the issue because people have jobs that depend on there being a race problem. And that's fucked up too. So
There being the perception of a race problem.
yes.
Yes.
And so we have to keep these problems going in order to justify our salaries, some of which are very, very, very high. It doesn't have to be those issues. It can be other issues. There's plenty of things that politicians generally would like to have the problem so that they can scare people into voting for them when they're up for re-election.
Yeah, that's your platform. What's your platform? Mine, save the ducks.
I hate ducks.
I'm against Big Duck.
I'd vote for you.
Dave, you have big duck energy.
I do.
It's Donald.
Well, let's get back to the demons and the devil. Can we cut to a clip?
Oh, look at this. We're going clip cutting.
See if it works.
Go to the main shot. Yeah.
Tucker Carlson with a gentleman that looks like the former tight end Greg Olson.
Will you maximize that screen? Oh, that's great. Okay, so do you want to set this up?
They're talking about the occult, Kabbalah or Kabbalah, depending on.
Kamala, she ran. Okay,
They're talking about Kamala Harris.
keep my VP's name out your mouth.
Talking about just spirituality. It's Halloween we're coming up on it, and so just this could be a little Kickstarter to flesh out some of this conversation.
All right.
I do like a shirt.
It's interesting. So here's the distinction that I make in my mind. And it's between people who are participating in occult practices and have no idea that they are.
Right.
People who are, participating in abortion and don't see it, don't understand it as what it is, which is a child sacrifice ritual as old as Canaan, who are using hallucinogenic drugs, which are clearly a portal for demonic possession.
Pause it. So this is what Tucker does, and I love it. It's a great example. Anybody that's really good at debating, when they make a statement like that, he just made the statement, hallucinogenic drugs, which are clearly a portal. What do you say? To demonic possession.
Yeah, he lists off a bunch of stuff and doesn't give you a chance to respond. It just says these are things that we all accept.
And he's talking to a guy that will accept that premise.
Yeah.
And the guy nods along. And whatever you think about that, and whatever the subject, when somebody that is well-spoken and smart, I think Tucker is a smart guy. Charlie Kirk does this, Jordan Peterson, anybody that's good at debating. If you start with the premise and you believe the premise, anything they say after that to support it is you'll come off with the impression how can anyone argue with that? That's just true. And he's starting with that premise of, they don't talk too much about drugs. I wish actually they do a little bit. I don't know if we'll get to it, but you can continue and see where you guys want to stop.
Really quick, the word
that.
witchcraft, I think in Greek it's pharmakai, I think it is. So there's always a natural link between putting yourself, they would say ecstatic states or altered states. That's always been there's a kind of lurid story behind the witch's broom in terms of what she's doing to work herself up into that state. But yeah, it's all about...
But she's doing it intentionally. I guess that's the distinction that I would...
Is he saying what I think he's saying about the witch's broom, to work herself up into that state? Is that...
What do you think?
I would think so.
Is that...
Yeah.
I saw you react to that as well.
Wait, to work...
The witch and her broom to work herself up into that state? Is he saying that she's sexually arousing herself with the broom?
Well, I thought you were talking about flying.
What's the difference? I mean, I love flying.
Don't we all? That's what I was getting off on from this.
All right, let's keep going.
Make in a secular country, a free to be you and me country, there are a lot of people who are doing things because they're fun or interesting, or everyone around them is doing them, and they don't understand the spiritual consequences. But then there's another category, and this is the dividing line in my head. There's a category of people who are seeking power from supernatural forces that they acknowledge are absolutely real.
Right.
And they're practicing an occult religion, and they're doing it with self-awareness.
Right.
And I always felt like there weren't that many of those. But what I've learned from you, from our extensive text exchanges over the past year, is that there are actually some of those, quite a few of those.
Oh, but totally. I mean, look at it a couple ways. Among other things, Tucker, we're living through an explosion in, occult's a big, broad term.
Yes. What does it, can we define it?
I mean, it technically means the hidden. But there's a book written by these guys that they ran an occult bookstore in New York in the 70s.
He has a Ghostbusters shirt on.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
But one of their definitions, it had to do with elements of New Age philosophy and neo-pagan thinking, I think, was part of their definition. But
you can probably pause it
out a bit.
And if you can take off the picture-in-picture and then go back to the notes, the notes page has the next timestamp. It's 20-something minutes where they go in to talk about a lot of the tech bro types that are taking hallucinogens and kind of like what they're using them for. This is very, obviously, people want the context, go and listen to the whole Tucker thing. But it's very clear, like the guest, I don't know who he is previous to this, and Tucker, it's like, well, it's clear, like the child sacrifice thing is going to throw people off with abortion. I've heard that reference before, and he did caveat and say most people aren't aware they're doing like child sacrificial rituals, and I'm not sure that they are. Like I don't like abortion at all, but I would never put it in the context of like we are sacrificing babies to a deity, which is what some people said went on. The Canaanites and well, I'll just say what did go on in some shape or form back then. But did you?
Well, I guess it depends on where you think influence happens with people to make their decisions. I mean, yes, ultimately free will, but yes, also influence. And that's kind of the whole point of Screw Tape Letters is that you have these two demons that are corresponding back and forth. And it's like the older demon coaching the younger one. Here's how you can go about influencing and tricking and planting ideas and coaxing humans in a certain direction for a certain type of belief system or even activities and actions. So at some level, do you have a population that's been coerced in some way by spiritual means? Maybe.
I would say maybe. The drugs thing caught me because like right now, there are people studying drugs and the use of small amounts of some of these drugs. Some of them are hallucinogens that seem to have very good effects to heal people from addiction and depression, PTSD symptoms. Republican was former governor of Texas, Rick Perry. Is he still the governor? I should know. Rick Perry.
Ric Flair.
Woo! Former governor of Texas, or maybe current, is on board. He's not in favor of legalizing all drugs or even legalizing these drugs for the masses, but he's seen the data that is very promising of...
What's that? Why do you mention that in light of
because
what they're describing or alluding to?
The way they're talking is sort of a fundamentalist frame of like, well, obviously drugs are a portal to the demonic and demonic possession, whereas real world data is showing great benefit to get people off of drugs and alcohol addiction.
Are you kind of straw manning their argument a little bit though?
No, I don't think so.
I haven't seen the whole thing, but what you're describing, I imagine, I'm going to guess, is going to be different than what he's going to describe, which is I can microdose and maintain sanity and full like consciousness versus I go into another dimension and lose my mind.
Yeah, that leads to my kind of the point of the way I look at drugs in general is I'm sort of drug neutral, and I have a history of taking some substances in some ways that I think have been helpful, in some ways that have been less so. Thankfully, all the less so is way in the past. It's way in the past. But so I look at it like anything else. It's a tool. Can this tool be abused and used for ill and be used for evil, be harmful to you and those around you? Absolutely. But I'm allergic to the way they're setting it up, which is like, well, obviously, what else could it be? It's a portal to the demonic. And now I have not watched all 2 hours of this, so maybe they get into some nuance about some of the benefits of drugs. But
well, we got nothing but time. Roll the clip, Dave.
Yeah.
Let's go
Did
ahead
you
and
get
see
the
what
next
A lot of
time
these
stamp?
guys, what was interesting about Nick Land is that with a lot of these guys, what was
Uh-oh. Someone sounded like they were under the influence.
We'll go.
Dave's got a lot to do. This is why he's left the camera on you for so long, Zach.
I mean, I look okay tonight, so I'm okay with it.
When in doubt, just leave it
Leave it on
Boulder.
Zach.
My beard is coming in
What's
nicely.
interesting about Nick Land
Oh my gosh.
No. Well, I don't know if we got to the point of that clip, and I bet our listeners are really freaking pissed off right now. They're like, play the clip. Don't talk about playing the clip. Play the clip.
Yeah.
So should we just...
Which clip did you want?
If you go to the notes
Yep.
window,
Yep.
the next timestamp is like 21 minutes, 20 minutes, and you're just going to have
I
to...
think it's 17.
Okay.
Does that sound right?
Yeah. If that's what I wrote down, do that one.
All right. Here we go. We'll try it.
and is that they keep getting the same ideas. These guys take drugs, whether it's Elon,
Tech
Nick
guys.
Land, or even in the 70s, the scientist John C. Lilly. John C. Lilly was an eminent scientist, brilliant dude. He started doing ketamine, the same drug everyone does in Silicon Valley. And when they do this drug, and even if you're an atheist materialist, this is still interesting, they all get the same idea, which is that the machines are, coming, it's like Skynet and Terminator. They're coming together, they're evolving to eventually take over, and that we are hanging ourselves with the rope we're currently building by building this. But this goes back, Nick Land was interesting, but he became less interesting to me when I realized that other scientists in the 70s, John C. Lilly, the movie Altered States from 1980, this horror movie, this is about, he would have these visions about the machines. He called them the solid state entities. He would have this in the 70s, Tucker, in this tank, the isolation tank he'd go in. The new, and you probably haven't seen it, but the new Mission Impossible movie, Tom Cruise, he fights this AI and he goes in the isolation tank and he has these visions of it. One of the biggest movies of this past summer. And that plot point comes from John C. Lilly and the visions he would get of AI apocalypse in the isolation tank back in the 70s. So I bring this up to say Nick Land is the most foremost proponent of it that has a public name, even though he's not that famous right now. But this goes back a long time, at least back to the 70s.
So are these... So people take ketamine and they all have the same vision.
Or
species of the same vision.
Enough of them do to make it very strange and alarming. That's the thing, that one of the main influences on both the show I was building, these guys, Brian Geisen, William S. Burroughs, his creative partner, he would say the thing is about getting high and about doing psychedelics is that, you can spot people, eventually who are on the same drug and you're both getting the same ideas. Some drugs, he said, increases telepathy, people are, it puts them on the same wavelength. So with a lot of these guys,
it's a little weird that.
Where do you think the phrase "yeah, man" came from, dude? So that's interesting that concept that you see people coming up with the same ideas, having same reactions, who do the same kinds of drugs. I could probably explain some of that away, I imagine, and that it's like affecting a certain part of the brain, which has a tendency to trigger certain reactions in people that could be common.
What if you take those drugs to some remote culture and you give it, do you think they're going to have shared experiences based around AI and building machines? Or would they have some other shared value that they have, that they all sort of have similar visions of, that is more related to where their culture is and where some of them think their culture is going? That's what's interesting to me, is like how much of this is you're tapping into something that's outside of us, and that's why these guys are having the shared experience, and how much of it is they're already swimming in those waters, therefore they all have similar experiences.
It made me think of the experiment where they went and gave the internet to African tribes, and within a week, all the boys were watching porn.
Yes. And not doing anything. Like the society started falling apart.
Yeah. And so there's some similarity there, which could lead you to believe that how much of this is, I don't know, that doesn't seem like a biological thing that happened. Something else is going on.
Other than the fact that on average, dudes like boobs and naked bodies.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's like the fast food of sexuality, that there's that addiction side of it. We don't have to go further into that, but unless you guys want to, those are the two times
naked people who eat McDonald's.
But
fast food.
They do mention machine elves, which is something, if you listen to
machine elves,
like a vision of machine elves, that I don't remember if it's ayahuasca or DMT, where I've listened to Rogan throughout the years enough to know that when they're talking about psychedelics, the idea of these machine elves coming and visiting people, like in different cultures, is like apparently a thing. I've never tried those drugs, but I wonder, it's like, what is now? We can interpret it if you're looking at it through Tucker's lens, which is understandable. It's obviously angels and demons the way we imagine them from the Bible or from some of the stories of the past, and that's the way it has to be. It's like, so definitely there's good and evil behind the scenes, and if you do these, you're going to be taken to the evil realm, and the evil is going to try to influence you. Or it could be that there is some underlying reality that it's being unlocked, that we're just interpreting it through the lens that we've been given. Like the writers in the Bible, when the prophets see these wild visions, like, is it possible they were taking some substances to help them tap into what the divine in a way? That's a possibility. I know it sounds wild because we think the Christian context most of the time is like, hey, God gave us the Bible, anything outside of that. But what if the writers of the Bible are like, they're interpreting this reality as they see it, and that there's other ancient writings that have maybe not the same imagery, but enough similarities to where there's a reality that some of these people were tapping into, and they were interpreting it through their own lens. And so that's why there are some similarities in the background. I don't know. It's speculation and a fun thought experiment, but
there's like 7 thought experiments in what you just said.
Dude, that's what I do, man. That's what I do.
You just did what Tucker did. You did the same thing. You just didn't use the exact words of like, we already know that this is it. And all of a sudden you moved on to the next thing, and I'm supposed to accept
That's true, except I phrased it in what if and what if and what if.
Yeah, that's
as opposed to obviously. What else could it be?
Even more subtle. Even more subtle and surreptitious.
I'm just planting my demon seeds in you.
I don't think it's controversial to say that if you are under the influence of some other substance like that you're more susceptible to input than you would be otherwise.
And maybe you are. Maybe it does unlock something that's always kind of in the background that we're just unable to see.
That should stay in the background.
Maybe.
But you also described the idea that like we have these like classical wings, halos, pitchforks, and horns concept of angels and demons. And that's again why I'm like, I think that's what that Screw Tape Letters book does, is it's like, no, it's not about that. It's closer to like the movie Inception, where planting ideas, subtle influences, things in the world that will like,
little nudges,
distract them from the things that are most important. Have him remind him that he's fixated on this thing, and that science has to be able to prove everything, and you should only lock into only the things that can be 100% proved, and that therefore faith shouldn't be trusted.
Right.
So there's those things, and that's even, that would be more diabolical, because what's the very end of The Usual Suspects, the greatest trick the devil ever played was convincing the world he didn't exist. There's a version of that.
I think a lot of people think that's in the Bible.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's not?
Name some names. Do you know some you want to say?
DPR?
Yeah, I need to go back and read that book. It's not very long.
You're reminding me that I'm due to go back.
Dude,
I need to do my dude diligence.
We're thinking about this as like a new segment, but we don't know what it's about yet. But
due diligence?
Yeah,
I like it.
The phrase came up, and I'm like, oh, that's something cool. What could due diligence be? Bros, dudes.
Well, let's get another little take from like the spiritual side of things and whether or not this is an overreaction or maybe there's something to it. We're going to go to my favorite worship leader, Sean Feucht.
I just imagine
It's the next tab in the. You got it.
I'm ready.
Nice. I think you can expand that one too.
Imagine a Street Fighter when they say
When it gets towards the end, it's going to autoplay whatever Twitter decides is next, so you can just be ready to pause it.
We should be able to change that.
Ready?
Hit it.
All right, so some of you may think I'm crazy, but I want to share this with you. By the way, thank you for praying for my wife. She's doing so much better. She just asked
no
to
idea
eat for
what's
the first
going on
time
with
in
his
3
wife.
days. I went and got her some acai after I dropped my teenagers off to youth group. But listen, I woke up this morning. I felt the nudging of the Holy Spirit to go on a purge through my house, through my garage, and so I did. And I get given a lot of things from people, like postcards, letters, different artifacts, different paintings. And sometimes they're from people in other countries that I go to, from Indonesia, Nepal, India, China, places that I've been over the years. And, you know, I was prompted that some of these things have attachments, have things maybe I'm not even aware of. And so I went on a purge, I was praying too as I went through my house just to get rid of anything that might have some attachment to it. Listen, I believe in the power of the Holy Spirit, but I also believe the devil can attach himself to things we may not be aware of. And we want to get rid of all curses and sickness and darkness and depression and heaviness out of our homes. We got to cleanse our homes from this stuff. I even had postcards from this satanic temple that I was keeping like as a joke, as a memory, but they were literally like declaring death over
From
my
that
family,
time I took the family on vacation to the satanic temple.
I don't know about that. I don't know what.
Said a few to my friends, wish you were here.
I kept it as a joke.
Wink, wink, wink.
You know, there's a verse in Ezekiel 20 where the Lord tells the Israelites, he commands them, get rid of the abominations and the attachment to any idols. Get them out of your house, get them out of your home. And so I want to encourage some of you, you know, like I'm finishing this book on spiritual warfare and realizing that sometimes we bring stuff into our home, into our environment that we're not even aware of. The music we listen to, won't even get on the Swiftie thing, but the music we listen to, the songs we listen to, like they can carry gnarly
Don't come
stuff.
after T Swift. Don't get my Swift.
The records.
I heard her latest is not very good.
Into our home. So just, man, if you're battling sickness or you're battling curses or you're battling whatever,
All right, we get it.
like
you can pause it. And if you want the tweet it was attached to, or the post has a rebuttal by somebody, I think Alyssa Childers, who is kind of a Christian watchdog that calls out doctrine that's false as she sees it. It's tied to that one, and she has a couple of thoughts that might be interesting to this, but
I liked her when she was on Who's the Boss. Oh, that's Alyssa Milano.
I love those cookies, though.
You should make more.
I love her cookies.
Make more sounds with your microphone. You should.
Those don't come through, thanks to the magic of your limiter or whatever, your noise gate.
Okay, so let me tell you a story from real life that's related, and
Good.
because I had a good friend of mine in college. He was in my wedding, and we still keep in touch today. And he played rugby, and one summer they did a rugby tour to South Africa. And when he was in South Africa, he got some stuff, picked up like some knickknacks and things like that. But one of the things that he got were these masks, these like African masks, and he brought them back. He's like, it looks cool. It seems like cool artifacts, and had them in his bedroom. And he said he was having the most gnarly nightmares for 2 weeks straight, and he's not the guy that you would expect to do that. I mean, he's a rugby player. He's what you imagine a rugby player to be. It's him. Not a very emotional dude.
Oi!
Yeah, better get them masks out of your bedroom, eh? So he was praying about it, and he felt compelled. He's like, I can't tell you why. It feels like something's up with these masks. I'm going to get rid of them. And so he did. He got rid of them. He trashed them immediately. No nightmares. Like a light switch. Now, it can be, I'm sure we can explain it away if we want to. Hey, you convinced yourself, all those sorts of things.
Don't get ahead of me.
And there's a lot of personality types that I would attribute that to. He just wasn't one of those
Didn't
people.
seem like one of
He's
them.
not charismatic. He wasn't a charismatic person at all. This is like a business econ major who played rugby, and was not a sensational type of personality. So, do I think that there's some things that he's describing that are real? Yeah, I think that stuff can be real. Do I think people tend to over spiritualize those things? Yeah, for sure. You can start to look for demons behind every door,
And I do.
which is probably the right thing to do.
Can it hurt?
Can't be too careful. Did he do any research?
This is like 25 years ago. I don't remember if he did any research.
There's no Google.
However,
Australians don't have the Google.
Not yet.
yeah, he wasn't Australian. He was actual American human. No, but this is a common thing. Like if you just do some very light research, you'll find that supposedly there's a lot of intentional negative spiritual things that are specifically around masks.
Yeah.
Are an object that people try to do transference of spiritual things to. I don't know how it all works or doesn't work, but it's not hard to find examples of this.
I didn't know if you looked to see what kind of masks they were or check any of that stuff out, but
Yeah.
it's interesting.
I don't know. There's just like a trident burned into the back of it with horns.
That's probably not a good sign.
Yeah.
Do you have the text above that? You don't have to put it on the screen, but if you want to read it on the...
From the tweet,
Yeah,
Alyssa Childers.
her response, which started another Twitter spat between them, but
I don't see it. Hold on. How do I scroll on this thing?
two fingers.
Oh. Oh, look at that. I learned something new.
TIL.
Okay.
Today I learned.
You want me to try to read this? Is that what you want me to do?
You just take your glasses off to read this?
Yeah.
I thought you had the.
No, I'm nearsighted.
I thought you had the progressives.
I do, but I haven't mastered them yet.
He's a dirty progressive.
There is zero biblical evidence that random physical items can have attachments. This is pure superstition that could lead to all sorts of bondage. The only precedence we have for something like this is in Acts 19, 18 through 19, where new believers who had practiced magic arts threw their books together and burned them in the sight of all. But this was preceded by specific confessions of their sinful practices. They had actually engaged in witchcraft and were repenting. And there is no implication that there was attachments on these items. Am I reading this whole thing?
No, that's probably good.
Unless
you want to hear more.
This feels like a version, though, of someone saying, yeah, but the Trinity isn't specifically mentioned in the Bible, so therefore it doesn't exist.
Yeah. Ironically, your example is, I think that is a good analogy, although she would definitely believe in the Trinity. But she's definitely, it is interesting. She's like, there's no specific biblical example. And your Trinity example, my example that I've been pondering lately is slavery in the Bible, which there's never a verse that says don't have slaves. Never. You can kind of build a progression on the understanding of the way we're supposed to treat slaves. And then when you have Christ coming and Paul talking about no slave in Christ, there's no Jew or Greek, slave or free, male or female. So you can find a trajectory that has led us out of, in general, society now is like slaves bad, and that's good, even though you don't have it directly in the Bible. So it's similar to what you said about the Trinity. But
also,
she's not wrong.
Also, that slavery wasn't just like a binary. There was you are this total slave type or not. There was variations of it. There was versions of slavery, not.
It wasn't all chattel, but chattel was part of it. But some of it was like, didn't mean they were treated badly. They were just owed a debt, and so they were kind of owned until they paid off their debt.
One would say we're modern day slaves to our debt.
That's true. Except for me. That's not true. I just lied. I repent. See how easy that is? Now you guys are required to forgive me.
Too late.
Forgiven.
Oh.
You
What the
didn't,
fuck's wrong with you?
you
Andy?
didn't lie to me. You lied to the Lord. You take it up with him. You take it up with the Lord.
But so this is a good, I wonder, your example, your friend,
Yeah.
the skeptical response to that and to try to explain it away. And me personally, I don't think I would explain it away. I think it might be possible. There's so much more going on than we are currently aware of. We can't explain everything with just data. That feels pretty clear to me. I'm just slow to say like, oh, it's definitely this or it's definitely not that. But I wonder if your friend, like, he brought that thing home knowing, oh, this thing's kind of weird. Like he already had a built-in subconscious resistance to it.
He thought it was cool. He got it because he thought it was cool. Like it looked cool. It looked tough. I think it was some sort of battle mask or something like that. I don't know.
But, Alyssa Childers, like, yes, these are people that I have beef with for various reasons that are different. Her coming against him, it's like, yes, okay, no direct biblical evidence. But one thing I agree with Sean on, although we would disagree, like I don't think there's necessarily currently, my current look at life is, I don't think there is like a physical devil and physical demons running around trying to deceive. However, if you believe,
What do you mean by physical?
like an actual, like think of a personified version, like there is
Like a body.
the devil, even if it's like a spiritual body, there is the devil somewhere. That some Christians view the devil as like the equal and opposite to Jesus. I don't think anything triumphs over Jesus.
That's a different thing though. But you're trying to say that, like, do you think it's a physical entity?
I think it's
Or not?
something, it's language that humans are using to put a face and to understand something that exists that is very hard to quantify. Like
Yeah, that's fair.
Forces of evil.
That's fair.
And it's even unsatisfying to me saying that, but that's just kind of,
Well, and that's the same thing. Sorry, I keep using that screw tape letters example, but
all right.
it's never like,
It's your podcast.
yeah.
Use whatever example you want.
But it's me. He doesn't ever. The instructions are never given. Hey, show up on his front door,
Right.
and scare the shit out of him,
Right.
face to face. That's never the
That's
example.
our job on Halloween.
Yeah, that's what we do. Oh my gosh, I saw this video the other day of these kids getting the shit scared out of them by parents on Halloween, and also like mechanical things in stores that are designed to just like pop out at them.
Oh my God.
And they're losing their minds. There's a couple that you're like, oh, you kind of feel bad for the kid. You're like, too much.
Well, I feel bad. I've been seeing like husbands and wives setting up cameras and like elaborately constructing things to scare the shit out of their spouse. And I'm like,
Oh,
Lisa would kill me. Like,
you had me worried up until the very last part of that
Yeah.
sentence.
but
Make sure his tabs are closed.
one thing
I'm searching.
I like real relationships. Okay. I feel very comfortable with the fact that however the spiritual world actually works, we can definitely give power to things. So in Sean's context, or people that are following him and that are kind of in his template or milieu, if you think like, oh, I did get that thing from that other country that maybe might have been related to pagan stuff, and if you believe that thing has power over you, it will have power over you. That this actually is
self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
Right.
The book I've mentioned before, but it's worth anybody reading it. It's not a Christian author or anything, but it's scientific studies of basically the expectation effect, kind of like placebos on steroids. Like the way you're looking at the world is going to influence the way you're interpreting everything, and that is quantifiable.
Sure. Yeah.
To some level. And I think a lot of times that can get into the spiritual conversation where what's going on is more a function of human psychology, and what you believe being true becomes the truth, as opposed to, no, the way Sean feels about those objects means it's definitely the thing that he's worried about based on his spiritual outlook. And maybe there's some crossover. Like that's the thing. I want to be clear.
That's good.
I'm open to not having the answers, and I think way more goes on than we are scratching the surface of physically.
I would agree that it's probably difficult for us to try to like draw these very clear boundaries between this is physical, this is psychological, this is spiritual, this is emotional, like all of those things. That's you can probably
and maybe there shouldn't be as many boundaries as we put around. Like that's all part of the spiritual is the physical, the psychological, the emotional.
You sound like an open borders kind of guy.
Everything is spirit, wide open.
Yeah.
All you immigrants, come to my house. It's in Ladera Ranch at Dave's house.
Dave's house.
You are welcome.
Yeah, for sure you can convince yourself of things. And there's the idea that like, even if the placebo effect, like at some point, if you've convinced yourself that it works, like, does it matter if it didn't actually do anything? Like, if it wasn't technically changing anything, but you felt better?
Yeah, it made you feel better.
As part of drug trials, like the placebo effect is real,
Yeah.
and drugs have to exceed it by a certain amount without causing other types of harm.
So I can't remember what it was recently. I remember talking with my dad about something, and I was like, hey man, I don't know if if me doing this activity or whatever is helping or not, but I feel better. And my dad's like, well, who cares if it's technically helping or not? You feel better, so that means it's helping.
Which I love about your dad, because your dad is kind of a data guy. Like, what does the data say, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't he kind of lean on that? And so he's like, whatever.
Well, as a psychologist. So,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
his point would be like, it doesn't matter if it technically works or not.
I guess the data would be,
It's working.
it's working.
So, good.
Yeah.
Keep doing that.
We should have your dad on.
Yeah, we should. That'd be fun. It's easier now at this place to do it. 'Cause
Smart dude.
Yeah, we should ask him what. Oh, maybe we could even have him video in. We could do. We could do
that.
a little
That
remote.
might be easier. Yeah, be
Would
good
be.
practice for us anyway to
Yeah.
do remote guests. Can we get a little biblical? I have a Bible scholar talking about Satan.
Say in.
Satan.
Will you flip to the main shot, my friend? Will you?
Unfortunately, it's going to be small.
Oh,
You can't blow
No.
that. It's Instagram on the web.
I have an idea.
Okay.
Hold this.
Can you guys hear me in the stereo? Because I am talking into my mic and Andy's mic. Andy, you've been working out. I got to be honest. He's bent over working on a laptop and
Two
it's-
Christmas hams.
Just saying, maybe I've been in this room for too long. 'Cause
Like two puppies fighting under a blanket.
can you do that accent? I know you're part Cherokee, but is that?
Are we ready?
Yes.
This is Dan McClellan, Data Over Dogma Guy.
Oh yeah.
Named Satan anywhere in the Hebrew Bible. And the notion of such a divine being, as well as such a background, are creations of the literature of Greco-Roman period Judaism and early Christianity. Hey everybody, I'm Dan McClellan. I'm a scholar of the Bible and
Dan.
religion. And you can't find any reference to any such entity or any such background anywhere in the Hebrew Bible. And any attempts to identify such references in the Hebrew Bible are attempts to renegotiate passages that refer to other things. So Lucifer in Isaiah 14:12. That's a reference to the human king in Babylon. Ezekiel 28 is about the human king in Tyre as a representative of humanity in the Garden of Eden. In Job 1 and 2 and Zechariah 3, the reference is not to an entity named Satan. The reference in Hebrew is to Hasatan, the Satan, and there Satan is being used as the title of an office or a role within the divine council. This is someone who works for God and does God's bidding as kind of a prosecuting attorney, because Satan is a generic noun that
Dwight
just means
Schrute of
adversary
heaven.
or accuser. And you have the angel of the Lord identified as a
Assistant to
Satan
the
when they
regional
come
Satan.
out against Balaam in Numbers 22. So anybody can step into the role of an adversary or accuser, and that's why you have just such an office or role or position within the divine council. And then you have this bizarre reference in 1 Chronicles 21:1 to a Satan, an adversary, an accuser, a Satan, inciting David to number Israel. And when we look in the parallel passage in 2 Samuel 24:1 there, it's God who incites David. And while there are some scholars who suggest that the lack of a definite article in the reference to the Satan in 1 Chronicles 21 might indicate this is being used as a personal name, I don't think that is accurate. I think instead it is just obscuring God's role in that incitement and just using the indefinite an adversary, an accuser in
Nerd
place
alert.
of the reference to God themselves. So it's in the Enochic literature that we see this use of Satan not only as a title for the head malevolent angel, the fallen angel who is responsible for all the calamity that ensues. We also see the plural Satans or Satans being used to refer to a class of deity in the Enochic literature. And by the time we get to the New Testament, Satan or Satan has become the name of this head malevolent angel, the one who rules over all the other malevolent angels and demons. By the way, demon is itself a product of Greco-Roman period Jewish literature. It is borrowed from a Greek concept, and there's no term that can legitimately be translated demon anywhere in the Hebrew Bible. And if you want a good analogy for the way the word Satan is used in the Hebrew Bible, the Greek concept of devil works just fine, because you have the notion of the devil, which sounds like an office or a position rather than somebody's name. You have the notion of a devil, which can refer to a class of deity, and you have the notion of plural devils. And that's exactly how the word Satan is used in Hebrew. And again, that wouldn't become the name of the head malevolent divine being or angel until around the 1st century CE, around the time of the composition of the New Testament. Here are some books you can check out if you would like to.
So is he implying that because it wasn't in the Old Testament in any way, shape, or form that we should ignore it?
No, I think his point is just here's the data, and at the end he kind of he said until the composition of the New Testament, because you do have in Revelation it's all over there about just like cosmic dark versus light, end of days shit, and
dogs and cats living together,
mass hysteria. But it's fascinating to me because you grow up and it's like you just have this idea of kind of like the Bible was just kind of composed, but really these ideas develop over time, and that's not to say that there is no devil or Satan or demon, angels and demons, but the idea of what those things are and how they interact with us kind of develops.
And it's
and then we read it back into like the serpent or in the Garden of Eden, and we read the Trinity back in the Garden of Eden when it talks about the Spirit hovering above the waters, even though the authors had no concept of that.
Yeah, the description of how these things work is limited.
Yeah, and so I wonder if there's spiritual forces in other ancient cultures in their writings that manifest differently. And there's probably some Venn diagram where there's similarities, but I wonder if it's just understandings about our reality and the other reality that cultures throughout time grasp onto and interpret, and it gets distilled and the understanding changes. But maybe it's describing there is some sort of other reality that we just can't quite explain, and so we put names to things. So it's not to say, and his point isn't to say, so therefore it doesn't exist. But for our context and from where I'm at now, it's like there's other things we can't explain that people have tried to put words to throughout all time.
I don't know.
So maybe we are like, maybe be slower to say, no, it's definitely this way, but our understanding of it in the future might change, and that's okay too. But I don't know.
Well, I guess maybe that's two different things. One is like,
that's what I'm doing today, is just throwing a whole lot of shit in the bucket, and then Andy, you got to pick something out and rinse it off.
I gotta take notes,
clean it up.
Okay, for article number 1, let me address your point. I don't have a problem with people trying to name things. We have to do that as humans so we can reference and like have any sort of interaction, common like way to describe a thing that's happening or a thing that exists. If the name of that thing now starts to describe details that maybe don't exist about the thing, that's where it maybe becomes problematic. And so that it's less about the what you named it, more about any additional descriptions about the thing that you start transplanting onto it that may not have been there. I don't exactly know what his point was, other than saying like, hey, you've got some misconceptions of where maybe you thought.
The way he does these videos is, and we kind of missed the very beginning, it's just like, sometimes he'll react to another creator and then give the scholarly rebuttal. But this one was just like the concept of Satan as like an individual doesn't exist in the Old Testament. It's more of an office.
Yeah. But there's probably a lot of other stuff too that fits under that, right? There's no other whales in the New Testament, I think. There's only one whale in the Old Testament.
But it's just like the writers, the people at the time, all the way up to Tucker Carlson and this guy. I think it's a never-ending onion that we will be peeling back to try to discover what the actual reality is. So,
whoa!
Yeah, just get a notification on the laptop, maybe.
Yes.
Anyways,
I wish. Does he ever do like debates with anybody? Because he started to touch on it a little bit, and I wish that he would have. I wish he would have done a better job of just saying, like, "Here, let me steel man the other side for a moment. Here's the argument that you tend to hear, and here's why, and here's their evidence that is typically cited." But it's Instagram, so there's not a lot of time. I get it.
Yeah, he's sort of like half-assed alluded to. Some scholars say that is a fascinating contradiction. I'll just say bunny, scare quote. Is it bunny ears or scare quotes?
Neither of those things. It's just air quotes.
Air quotes.
Bunny quotes.
I like bunnies.
Bunny quotes.
I like bunny. I like Easter better than Halloween. Maybe I should dress up as a bunny. And not Richard Simmons like my wife got me a costume for.
Oh, man.
I'm wearing short shorts on Halloween.
I want it.
Yes.
The perfect response. Yeah, gross.
I'm more comfortable with my sexuality.
I think you're more comfortable with his sexuality.
Yeah, too.
Yeah. I wanted to get a giant troll, like animatronic troll. We saw it at Lowe's the other day. And both Lindsay are like, why does this seem like an awesome / terrible thing to put in our front yard?
Yeah.
In our new neighborhood.
They got some good ones out right now.
There's some huge ones.
Have you seen the giant skeleton some people have?
Yes.
Dude,
There's a guy
they're like
down here in San Clemente that has it in his Jeep.
25 feet tall.
I know. There's a guy that has like the top half of that in the back of his Jeep.
It's making noise because you're touching it.
There you go. Anywho, if you want to hand that computer to Andy, I'm guessing we're going to start to wrap up. And there's one comment on the recent
okay.
This one was
YouTube.
Yeah, I'll take this one.
Take that one.
Yeah.
But do you ever worry that Halloween we're like glorifying the devil? Like some Christians are really worried about the reason we don't celebrate Halloween is we want to avoid kind of the darkness, but I guess these days I look at it like we're disarming it. It's like there's no angels and demons, or there's no like ghouls and goblins. There's nothing. I'm shitting the bed right now, but the devil and evil has way less power over us, and we're going to kind of mock it and have fun with it on this one day a year. So I'm less worried about that. But for a lot of Christians, it's like, why are we honoring the dark side, as it were?
Because we want candy.
Where's the clip that you were talking about?
Oh, just if you go to YouTube and click on the videos, I can do it if you want to.
No, that's fine. I can find it. Keep going. I didn't know. I thought you had it queued up.
Dave, you celebrate Halloween like a pagan.
Yeah,
Why?
we have a big old party.
You're not worried about it?
We like to commune and give out candy.
Like a witch?
Yeah. We like our brooms.
How big are your brooms?
Good size.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you sand them down?
Sometimes.
Gross.
Who wants a splinter?
Which one?
Nobody. Yeah, the most recent one. There's only one comment.
Okay.
Because it just came out.
Modern Idols?
Yeah. Oh,
no.
that's the... Yeah.
Sorry. I'll find it. Conspiracy memes?
Yes.
Okay. Stand by. One comment. Here we go. This is on our episode 266.
This is related to Candace Owens and Charlie
episode.
Kirk, the Jews.
Yeah, it'll be clear
The
when
Jews
I read
killing.
this. Do you want to read it?
No. I'm sorry. Andy, I feel like he's done with my filling buckets with nonsense.
Get better at podcasting, okay?
I'll be a producer next time. Dave can be in my seat.
You haven't ever produced yet.
I haven't.
That's true. You've never produced anything in your life.
Never. Except for nonsense.
Yeah, okay. Sorry. I felt like I got a little mean there. I didn't mean to get mean.
I think he did.
Oh.
It got meaner than I meant it to. Maybe that's the way I want to say it. I want to just be like a little bit of mean.
The good news is I'm very forgiving.
Did Candace say, air quotes, Jews might have killed Kirk, or did she say rather that Zionists might have killed Kirk? I personally don't know, as I haven't listened to her very much, but I do hope you are not conflating Jews and Zionists, are you?
No.
What's the difference?
Are
There's a lot of Zionists over here that aren't Jews that support Israel and the Zionist cause. Yeah, I don't have I don't think, I think Candace would make a distinction. I don't listen to her. I'm like that guy. I don't listen to her enough. I just know she is driving hard the idea that Israel is or the Israeli government and the Zionists there, not all the Jews or the Jews, whatever that means, are influencing Turning Point USA, and maybe we're behind Charlie Kirk.
Zionism is basically saying the Jews should establish and support a Jewish homeland through the colonization of Palestine.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, I would agree that you don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist. There's plenty of those people. Lindsey Graham.
So the short answer is no, but thanks for responding and listening, as it were.
He asked us about Candace. You should ask Candace. And that was Arthur M. Pena. Great question. I love it. But go ask Candace what she meant. And you can email her at candace@brosbiblesbeer.com.
.squarespace /
Yeah, which is brought to you by our new sponsor, Squarespace. Just kidding.
Also, MeUndies, which with their underwear that has room for both circumcised and uncircumcised penises.
And what?
Circumscribed.
Underwear is for both the Jews and the Gentiles. I always think of MeUndies as like underwear for pirates.
Arr.
Check out MeUndies.
I can't find MeUndies.
Have you seen MeUndies? Yeah. Dave likes that one.
I do.
There was something I was going to say. I can't remember what it was. Oh, well, it was going to be good. Oh, I remember what it was. Okay. So had lunch with my buddy today. I'll try to get him on the podcast, Muslim. And at the end of it, I said, hey, let's...
Do you believe that you're a sinner?
I'll do the 4 spiritual laws with him. I said, hey, would you be interested in doing a little experiment with me? Can you pick one person that you think it'd be interesting for me to listen to from the Muslim faith?
From whatever you do over there?
Yeah, that's how I said it. And I said, would you, and I'll pick one from, I'll pick someone on my team. I'll pick something that I think that I think is interesting and you might find interesting too. And we'll both commit to listen. And then the next week, talk about it.
That's a good idea.
And he said, yes. And
So
that was just today. But I think I want to go
who are you going to do?
John Mark Comer.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna find some John Mark. I think he's the guy
You've been riding that Comer train pretty hard lately.
I do, like a witch.
Do you think? Do you think there's more room on that train, or are you taking up all the room?
I'm not taking up all the room. He does put together a pretty impressive message. Like I want to go through and transcribe it and like annotate what he's doing. Like I want to basically like be the John Madden of his sermon, and like how does he connect? Oh, he did this, and then he moved this thing in there. At the end, he connected all of the dots all together. Gosh, that's really smart the way he did that.
At the end, you say boom
And turducken.
Wait, did Madden say boom?
I think he would do boom sometimes.
I thought that was the
I don't think he did boom.
yeah.
I want him to do boom.
Encouragement.
Anyway, so that'll be interesting. I'll let you know how that
Very
experiment
much so.
goes.
Get
It's
him
a
on
good
the
idea.
pod.
Yeah, he'll come on.
Get him on
I'm
the
sure.
pod.
I'm sure he'll come on. I'll talk to him about it, and yeah, that'll be fun. He's a good dude, though, and I appreciate our conversations. Hadn't seen him in a couple of weeks. He was out, and Tom was like, "Hey, I was thinking about you. I missed having your face around the office, and someone who's willing to talk about things that aren't just work."
Man. Yeah.
So
I was going to start saying something, but I'm worried
Yeah.
now. I'm
Yeah,
scared
man.
now. I'm scared to start talking now.
yeah, man. That's okay. Well, should we wrap it? This is
Sure.
a good one.
Yeah.
This is fun.
Good
I like
amount of
this.
time.
Yeah, this is good. And as always, all the stuff that you guys know, like and subscribe, you can go to the main one. It's fine. You don't have to be on me.
Share a
wanna
friend.
be on
Share
you.
it with
Oh,
your
okay.
friends.
Yeah, share it with your friends. If there is any episode, if this episode was interesting, you liked it, yes, like and subscribe. Those things definitely help the algorithm. If you could send us money, good luck on figuring out how to do that. But the thing that is most important, we always say this: share this with one other person. Hit that share button, and just send it to one other person you think might be interested in it. And we love that because our hope here is that these conversations are interesting, and if you like what we're talking about, and you can interact with us too in the comment section, YouTube, etc., that's great.
Yeah. And if one person evades the clutches of the devil from this podcast, that our mission is accomplished.
It'd be worth it.
With just one person.
I think so, but I mean it.
Stop joking around.
Yeah. All right. Well, then let's close it up. For Zach, Dave, I'm Andy. This is Bros, Bibles, and Beer. Grace?
Peace.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. Hey. That's good. Gosh, dude. Gross.